I'm sorry to hear that.
That's kind of weird, but that's it. That's my story.
Okay.
I'm tired because I didn't sleep.
Well, I had a sinus infection that started kicking kind of last Wednesday, and I kind of didn't pay much attention. It just got worse and worse, and then I got the standard crap to get rid of it: prednisone and Augmentin. And I
Oh,
haven't
did you
had.
go to the doctor?
No, I didn't. I actually did. They had to win.
You have an actual doctor that didn't tell you had COVID?
No, it was actually a PA, and she was pretty cool.
That's amazing. They didn't tell you that. Oh my God, you have COVID. We're going to put you on a ventilator. Just kidding.
My doctor's cool because in 2020 I had yearly physical. It was in May. January. I told him. I said, "What do you think about this crap?" He goes, "I don't think it's real." Like, thank you, doctor. I'm glad you told me that because I don't think it's that really. I mean, yes, people are getting it, but it's just overblown. He goes,
it's getting the fucking flu like they always do every year. Yep. 165,000 people die of the flu every year.
Plus or minus.
Plus or minus. But no one died of the flu in the last 2 years. Notice that?
I was saying it early on ago, no one's getting the flu anymore.
The flu, that's old hat.
That's been rebranded.
Okay, we got to meditate and pray first.
Yeah, please, let's do that. So
sounds good.
Yes. You want me to do it? I'll do it.
Sure.
That's fine. Okay, just put your feet flat on the floor. You can put right hand on your heart if you like. I like this one that we're doing. It's good. Just breathe in maybe 6 counts and out 7. And just become present with the situation that we're in right now, which is that we're preparing to make some art together and discuss natural law principles. And what a great opportunity that is. And I'm just going to ask the Creator to enter into our hearts and our lives and our spirits, to give us those intuitive thoughts that we need to channel the power of the universe for our ascendance and awakening to the people we come in contact with just by our very deportment, our way of being. And that whatever we do tonight is inspired. Amen.
Amen.
Off we go. So I'm doing, see, I added these pieces of wire to my weird ass piece. I don't know if you can see that.
I know, I wish it was in my computer, but yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, so I added these weird pieces of wire. So I have to stabilize them, but I didn't make a batch of paper clay, so I'm going to paint this now, some weird colors, who knows what. And then I'll deal with that later. What are you
Okay.
doing?
I'm going to do some colored pencil.
Cool.
Nice.
It was quick, and I have one sheet of paper left in my.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was listening to GTW last night.
Oh, really? How was
And
that?
it's long.
It was long.
It's long. And I was half asleep. Actually, I think I dozed off, but then I heard Truth Show. Okay. So Stephanie bugged, what's his name? The other guy with Richard.
Lawrence?
No.
Oh,
Joshua.
Who?
no,
Not
Tony
Joshua.
Myers?
Tony.
Tony Myers.
So Stephanie texted all three of those guys, and Tony grabbed the ring. So he brought it up, threw it up on the screen, and Richard commented, and Richard said what piece he's going to do.
What, who?
Oh,
for the-
good. Oh, awesome.
for the show.
What, who's going to
Richard's
do?
gonna
What?
do a piece.
Rich-
Richard's gonna do a piece.
For
Yeah.
Oh, woohoo! Richard's gonna do a piece for the show. This is so awesome. Look, we're getting all the artists to come out of their little unart shells. That's awesome.
Something.
Great, Jeff. You should really feel like accomplished there.
Yeah. He goes, oh, that Jeff Medine. Okay.
That's
Anyway,
so fantastic.
it was kind of interesting.
Great to hear.
I
Did
was
he
happy.
say what he's gonna do, or he's just gonna do something?
So way back when, he it was on an interview or something. It was at least 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even longer. And this artist in New York City who was kind of catching some notoriety for, the brain and the dots and it's connected. So he did these large drawings on high quality paper for a show that was, I don't even remember the gallery, but it was a pretty well-known gallery. And it was all about the Bush family and connecting these dots between the various bushes, and digging deep into the weeds, but it's just the dots connected, and then the different things, and the dots connected with the people. And I wish I could remember his name. At any rate, he died.
Mysteriously. No.
Yeah, totally serious.
Oh, really? He's suicided?
No, probably
Just
not.
disappeared?
Two shots to the head. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he died of mysterious causes.
Oh.
And I don't think the show went on. I could be wrong.
Oh, well, so they accomplished their goal.
Yep, they took that voice. Yep. So he's going to do something regarding that artist who's not.
Interesting. Richard's like, bring it.
That's awesome. Good for him.
Yeah, I agree. I reached out to. So did you see the latest? Well, it's a Corbett report.
No, I don't watch anything.
You don't like? All right.
Full.
I was watching it because Stephanie said Corbett did a thing on truth art.
Oh, cool.
Specifically. And he had 3 different creators. One is a couple, I don't read their ads, called Flip It. And they do these zines that are pretty cutting and to the point. And then there was a woman in Portland, and she was a little more, it was very spiritual. She's not really doing much in relation to truth, but it's all very woo-woo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then there was another guy, and he is in Denmark, and he goes by Doofy. Anyway, I reached out to him. Chris Reddy is his name. and his website is ready made.
Oh, cool.
And I reached out to him, and so he signed up for the show.
Nice.
Oh, neat. From
Yeah.
from Denmark?
From Denmark. Yeah.
Neato.
Yeah.
That's great.
Good.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. That
Good,
was
good.
nice.
This is good shit, you
I
know?
saw the email that you guys sent out for the call for artists last week too. So
You filled it in?
no, I saw it.
Okay. So, I mean, if you
Do I need to fill it in?
fill in that card and then hit send, and then
Okay.
Stephanie gets it, and then she'll come, put together a list of artists so that then we have an email list that we can send out information to artists regarding like button. So
I
it'll
didn't
probably,
see it, but I'll check it out.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
I can.
They sent
I
it to
wasn't
me?
sure if I was supposed to respond or not. So
if you would, that'd be awesome.
cool. Yeah, I can.
Okay. I know it's kind of a new thing, but I just want to get a list together of everybody, and then we can.
I was thinking about forwarding parts of it to, just to share with other people that might be interested too. So.
Please do. Please do.
Oh yeah. Please send it along because I did not see it.
Well,
Sorry.
it's not exactly a new thing, but it's only been up there for maybe 3 weeks. So it is kind of new to you guys. Old friend of mine that I met in Durango, I only knew him for about a year before I moved, and I reached out to a common friend, and he gave me his contact information. I called him. He left Durango kind of for the same reason I did. He was not into the COVID. He was not into the masks or the vaccines or anything like that. And the other, city dwellers there are very liberal, and they started giving him shit and just calling him a Trumper, and I have a really good I've known since art school. And he today he reached out to me again, and he's just like, he just won't investigate anything. He's just like locked down. It's really silly.
Really?
Yeah, it's really, really fucking silly. He goes, "Oh, you listen to those opinionated podcasters." I go, "What's wrong with that?" I can refute everything he says. It makes no sense. But.
Yeah, well, I'm not even talking to my family about this stuff, I'm not looking forward to what comes.
Well, sure, if your
as
brother.
a result of me having to talk to them at all about anything, because I haven't talked to them for 2 years.
I know
at
you
all.
said. Wow.
It'll be fun. I'm probably going to do nothing. I'm going to say nothing. Probably. I'm going to try. It's going to piss me off, but.
So we do that to get along,
Oh yeah, there's no point in saying anything to them. They're done. They're already.
They are done.
Signed, sealed, and delivered. So there's no point.
You can only plant seeds in people for so long before it goes array.
They're done. They've got, I mean, like my brother having a heart attack. I mean, it's like, and then I found out, because I haven't been in touch, that my cousin, my like third cousin, I guess, her husband died at age 49, and nobody knows. There's no reason.
He got the shot.
Weird.
I'm sure they all got the shot. I'm sure they all got it. Oh, Skype. Let me see who's coming. Who's going to talk to me? Skype.
Yeah, so today we're talking about consciousness, and we might get into like the 3 different parts of the brain a little bit as well. I'm finishing up this piece from last week. I'm going to add in the stuff that's on the TV set here. I decided that I think I'm going to add in a newscaster, and it's going to say 1 + 1 is now 3.
Oh, good.
I know it's kind of cliche to use the math problem as a fake math problem as the thing,
No,
but
that's
I
good.
figured that was a good thing.
No, this
to
is
kind of
good. I mean, because it
illustrate the
could go
belief
down in history.
versus
Just because we know now, in the time capsule.
Well, I've seen other people use this imagery before, but it's okay. Because it gets the point across them trying to convey, which is
1 plus 1 is now
you
3.
can't, 1 plus 1 is not 3. So.
No, it's 2 plus 2 is 5. Come on.
Just
There's
like
that one
happy
too,
hour is 10 hours long.
So,
That's what I always love. Oops.
Well, that's Common Core.
Oh no, Common Core. Oh Lord, don't even listen. It was so vile. Ugh. God. So ridiculous. That was my friend. I had a friend in Buffalo who had a son. Her son, was basically being taught Common Core, and he was failing and very unhappy, and it was terrible. And then she introduced him to baseball and drumming and got him away from all that bullshit. Just basically told him, you have to just get through this.
right.
But I mean, I can only imagine how many kids.
Oh, I struggled with that stuff when I was in school.
But Common Core is new, dude. It's not Common Core.
Yeah.
It's the new crazy. I mean, your kids.
Whatever they had back then when I was in school messed with me.
Oh, they had normal math, which I had a horrible time with. But I mean, this is something else. This is Common Core is like confusion, total confusion.
We switched from old math to the new math when I was in 3rd grade.
Oh yeah, new math, right? I remember that. Because Tom Lehrer wrote that song about new math. Remember that?
I know Tom Lehrer, but I've never heard that song.
That's hilarious. I'll have to find it, dig it up. But anyway, so consciousness certainly is far, far away from Common Core. Consciousness and Common Core are like polar opposites.
Yeah. Yep. Consciousness, the ability of a being to recognize patterns and meaning with respect to an event taking place both within our oneself and in the realm which the self exists and operates. So that's a running definition I found of consciousness. And so,
well, you please repeat that.
Yeah, the ability.
Let's do one half at a time. What?
Okay, the ability of a being to recognize patterns and meaning with respect to events taking place both within oneself and in the realm in which the self exists and operates, which would be, Earth, I guess.
Body, mind, spirit.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
And this kind of ties into some of the other stuff we've been talking about these other weeks and stuff with the, like how I had that one painting a couple weeks ago with the truth line and the perceptions, truth versus perception. If you're in line with truth, then you're going to have a higher level of consciousness than if you're not in line with truth. So.
Oh yeah.
That relates to that pretty deeply, I would say. But I mean, but the ability to recognize synchronicities or different, Jeff was talking about Richard doing the piece kind of about connecting dots, of information to like have an understanding of, you know, what's going on in a certain situation. And that is what you have to do to be conscious. You know, you have to connect those dots. You have to do that.
We have to be open-minded enough. Like, I'm just thinking
Yeah.
of my family, like they're totally closed-minded to my brother, you know, he's an atheist or something like that, probably. And he said, he's only texting right now. So I texted him and he said, I have faith in the medical team. And I'm thinking, well, at least you have faith. That's a start.
Yeah.
I mean, but the fact that he has faith, and I mean, I just feel bad for him. I'm like, how could you possibly have faith in the medical team now? I mean, how could you? You're obviously completely unconscious.
That is exactly so. They're super unconscious.
If you can, but see, I mean, like I started thinking about when I was listening to the last election, or the election before last, you know, there's no way to avoid hearing dribs and drabs. And I thought to myself, anybody who still believes in this after seeing over and over again that they don't keep their promises, it must be lying to themselves. This has to be the result of people who lie to themselves on a regular basis, are so susceptible to lies.
Yeah.
So
Lying
there must have
to
something to
oneself is definitely not a conscious being.
Correct.
yeah, I mean, to be able to live within many lies, because facing the truth is too terrifying, and what you'd have to do if you actually face the truth of your life.
The truth can
I
make you
mean,
mad sometimes too.
yes, the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off.
Yeah.
It's pretty darn subjective, don't you think?
What? The truth?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it should be, but it is. It's subjective like art. I don't know.
I don't think it's
No, the
subjective,
truth is objective.
but it's the truth is objective, but I think that there can be some confusing polarities which would make it sometimes look like it's subjective.
What makes you think it's subjective, Jeff?
Well, because there are things in my life that I used to believe as truth, right? As true. But I got exposed to some different truths, and I now think what I believed before was not true. And I think there are a lot of people out there that that have a different set of truths than what we're operating with. So, I mean, it doesn't seem like it should be a malleable thing, but but there are lots of viewpoints out there, and they believe that it's true. So,
Right. So that's truth versus perception is what I
okay,
think you're
Yeah.
talking about. Perception is subjective,
okay,
Right.
but
And
truth
then
is not. There's, I mean, it says in the Hermetic Principles that there are half truths, but that is referring to the little t truth, which is perception. Like my truth and your truth. I may have my perception of truth, but the truth is what has happened, whether I perceive it correctly or not. And my perception of the truth is going to be dependent on whether I can just differentiate the false from the truth,
mm-hmm.
which will have to do with whether I'm lying to myself or not. Like when I look at my family, for example, I know that, you know, some of them are married to each other because of money,
Sure,
or maybe some of them are, they actually hate their spouse. They only married that person for money. And they kind of tout that as if it's good. Or they are still together with their spouse, even though they hate each other now, but they're only together because one of them is Catholic and they believe in that's their lot in life, is to stay married. Or one of them is a total narcissist and like kind of a lunatic, and just believes that she knows everything, and everyone, and she's crazy. She's really crazy. So, you know, those people definitely, from what I've seen, what I was witnessing, is they definitely lie to themselves to be able to maintain their status quo lives and not have to confront the big T truth about it. So that's how they fall for stuff. Like, I mean, I've heard, like, if you don't stand for anything, you fall for everything. You've heard that, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure.
So that's perception, I would think. Like, if you're not telling yourself the truth, if you're not willing to face the facts about situations in you know, your life, and therefore you can continue to distract yourself and hide from the truth, your perceptions are going to be very, very skewed. And that's where,
you know, what I'm getting with what Jeff said too is like, okay, so like you maybe you're a Christian, so your truth is different than if you're like a Buddhist, say. And so, but like all these things are all based on belief, so it's not necessarily truth, it's just a belief. And then beliefs are actually irrelevant to truth. And like, so sometimes there's confusion. Like if I get a cut on my hand or just on my body anywhere, that is true, I have a cut. But then there's also like different degrees of being a cut. You know, there's like a really small paper cut all the way up to half of my arm is cut open and I have to go to the hospital, you know.
Yeah.
Or even like temperature, for instance, there's hot and cold, right? Both of those are true as temperature, but they differ by degree, whether they're hot or cold. And they could be perceived, depending on what type of being you are, your tolerance for hot and cold could be different, you know. So those truths would be slightly different, but it's not like it's different.
Like if you're from Alaska, like, cold to you might be something that might be warm to someone else.
There's that, just because you've had like that higher tolerance maybe to cold. But like, for instance, a lizard reacts to temperature differently than a human does because of the way their physiology is constructed. So, you know, we have a lot more tolerance to cold temperatures than a lizard would.
Yeah.
Because our bodies self-regulate our temperature, whereas a lizard has to like lay in the sun in order to help regulate their temperatures or go into the shade if they get too hot.
So bring it back to truth, because how does that have to do with truth though?
Well, the truth is there's temperature no matter what you are. It's just your physiology determines how that temperature is, you know.
So that's
tolerated.
His perception. So that's the difference. Like, so the lizard perceives cold and hot differently than you perceive cold and hot. Is that what you're saying? But temperature, no, I'm just saying exists.
That they don't perceive it differently. Their body actually reacts to it differently because they're completely different species.
Right, but I mean,
so I was just the only reason I was using temperature is to point out that there's more than one temperature, but temperature itself is a truth.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Well, the temperature, I mean, as long as the thermometer is accurate, the temperature is what it is.
Right. Yeah.
Well, temperature is a truth. It's the different facts of temperature that are would be reduced to my truth and your truth. But temperature exists.
Mhm.
Right.
So it's just I think it's one of those things where the cabal has probably distorted the idea of truth in its definition to try to get people to believe in solipsism.
Okay.
That my truth, that there is no ultimate objective truth. There's only my truth and your truth. And you know how they've done that? They've like changed the dictionary definitions of things.
Yeah, they use words as weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've just changed the definitions and people kind of go along with it because people are too lazy at this point to look words up. So they've just simply changed the definitions at this point. Now, it's pretty weird.
Well, another thing is people often assume definitions. They're like, oh, like that. I assume that this means that without actually looking the definition up to see what the actual true meaning is. I find myself doing this sometimes even, and then like I have to like, I've been consciously saying, wait a minute, like, is that really, because my daughter will ask me something and I'll have to articulate what that word means to her. And then I'm like, wait a minute, let me look this up before I like fully tell you this, because I want to teach you the wrong thing. I can't think of a specific one right now. But I think I think even this weekend, like she was asking me, what? She was like, is shimmer kind of like sparkle? And I was like, yeah, shimmer and sparkle are similar. And then we were kind of talking about the difference between a shimmer and a shine. We're just, and so I think I got out the dictionary and we looked them up.
Yeah, I've fallen into confirmation bias. I'll kind of, I won't look because it sounds okay. It feeds my sensibilities. I try not to do that, but I still do it. To be honest.
Yeah. I feel like some people do it more than others, and it's like you learn all these dictionary, you go out, do all this vocabulary stuff, when you're in school, and then you get out, 20 years later and you're trying to remember what are some of these less used words mean. And sometimes you're actually putting the different words on that word's meaning because they're similar, but not necessarily exactly the same in the meaning.
Oops.
So as far as consciousness and like absolute truths or like gravity, but there can be different types of gravity. Like on the moon allegedly has different gravity than the earth. And,
Right. It's not.
So it's like gravity is a truth that exists throughout the whole universe, but there are differing degrees of how gravity operates. If that makes sense.
Kind of, yeah.
Right. So then, in other words, they just took the word perception and made it into the word truth somehow, so that it would seem like your perception is the truth when it's your perception.
Right.
And then you can start thinking, well, that's how it would lead you to think that there is no objective truth because of the word change.
I think we could, I've said this before, but I think we could probably agree that there are truths that shouldn't be. Like, I used the example of war last time. Okay, we're getting into another one. I mean, it just seems like, but it's a real thing. But it shouldn't be. The education system should actually educate instead of indoctrinate. The health system, it's sick care. It's not health care. But those are true things, I think.
Well, no, they're lies that are being perpetrated by the cabal. They're the ones who are behind all this. They have an agenda and they're putting it forth. They're trying to make it happen, and they're trying to make their lies true because they have a lot of power because they have a lot of money and influence. But that this is the truth. It's just what's happening, yes, but it's
Yeah, it's true that it's happening, but it's not an actual truth. You're right. Objectively, war should be obsolete because it's completely against natural law. It's basically using violent force to influence your will on another group of individuals, which, it's a truth within nature that there are moral consequences and there is moral culpability for interfering with someone's free will.
But it really isn't even for that at this point. It's just to make money. They just use that to make money.
Well,
It's all
in control. Yeah, they use the money for control, bribe people, whatever.
But I wouldn't call it a truth. I would call it them. I mean, yes, it's a truth that it's truly they are doing that, but it isn't even a war. Like this whole stupid shit going on in the Ukraine isn't really a war. It's,
Right.
Putin is part of the cabal and he's just creating some chaos, while we have a break from COVID.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
That's all
think.
it is.
The diversion. Yeah.
Yeah. While they, move forward with the New World Order. So where's the truth in that? There's so many lies. It's just lie on top of lie. There's
Right.
no truth there. Yes, it's true. People are being killed and land is being
Innocent.
destroyed and redistributed, but there's no actual truth there. You know what I mean? I don't see it as truth per se. It's just them doing their thing. They're moving forward their agenda. They're using deception because they're calling stuff climate change. That's another lie.
Yep.
And they're just moving their agenda forward. And but truth is
well, the truth in climate change is, yes, our planet goes through cycles of hot and cold and in between periods. And there's been scientific, studies with ice core samples and whatnot that show, based off of the sediments and the way the ice looks, they can postulate what was, the temperature of the Earth over, a couple 100,000 years. And but the lie in it is they know that data, and they know that if you look at the data, it looks basically like a heartbeat, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And but if you know that data and you spin it a new way, then you can convince people that it's our fault because of the, you know, X, Y, and Z reasons. And then that you can start a whole movement and raise, you know, extort a bunch of money out of people, and or get them to do weird irrational things because of this, you know, propagation of this lie.
Right.
But in reality, it's just like the natural cycle of the earth. But they're taking that natural cycle and they're going to like, we're going to exploit this thing and use it to our
Use it to
advantage
get property
to,
away from people and,
yeah,
you know, install the USB or United UB the UBI. You know,
I
people,
know.
but then there's these people, you know, so, but, you know, it's not, this has nothing to do with the truth, but they've convinced us that this is somehow the truth. People who are completely ignorant. I mean, I just, you know, have to deal with those people now. My family, my lovely, ignorant. I'm just, you know, and it's just, I mean, in the past, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. It's like people are in that state, and I have come to realize that the people who are in that state, I can't really convince them of anything else. So good luck.
Yeah,
You know, I was actually thinking today that people may have, like, very young souls may have incarnated right now so that they can die off. They can be part of the die off thing that needs to happen or whatever. I don't know. Sorry, go ahead. What?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought you did.
oh, it sounded like you were going to say something.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, it's weird.
It is. They are
Time.
so stuck and so incurious. But it's the system. I mean, it
Well,
works.
it's like you're saying, the system, it's like the system's going to put on the news, look at all these, you know, look at the temperatures going up. Oh, look at all the polar ice caps are melting, blah, 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 blah. But they're not going to show you the scientific data that was, this scientific experiment was probably conducted 20 years ago or more, where they show the data from these ice core samples. They're not publicizing that. I mean,
Right.
if you really want to go and dig deep and look into stuff, yeah, you can find that, you know, in the Nature journal or whatever, you know, the Natural Science Journal or whatever it's called, you know, you can find that
Scientific
stuff.
American.
But I can't remember which one that study, I think it was in Nature, something like that. But anyways, that unless you actively go look for stuff like that, they're not actually just telling you. They're telling
Plus
you
the other thing is
data
they
that
are the ones that are causing a lot. That we do have an influence, but it's them that's causing it. Like with their fucking under the ocean sonic tests that they're doing with the Navy, or if in fact the bombs, the nuclear bombs were real. See, there's even conspiracy saying that didn't even happen. So I don't even know about that. But or the saying that what was that God, I can't remember the name of that Japanese tsunami situation, you know, they
Fukushima.
caused that. Fukushima, like if that actually happened, which people are questioning whether that actually happened. They caused it. It was Israel that caused a bomb, that set off a bomb that created that tsunami. So they're the ones who are really, if humans are actually, and by their perpetuating petroleum products, you know, which when we have access to the information for free energy, they're the ones that are you know, pushing the earth to its limit. But they make it about us.
But they're blaming it on us. They're like, oh, it's your fault because you buy our you know, products that we're pushing on you.
They're shitty
Right, and
products.
then my stupid, idiotic family are just the kind of people who are like, "Oh, I have to buy a Prius." I mean, we all have my boyfriend has a Prius, but
Yeah.
they
Oh,
That's what's
feel
crazy
like,
too.
huh?
There was electric cars. There was someone was trying to put out an electric car in like the 70s that worked fine. You know, you could charge it. It would go like 80 miles an hour, you know. But they shut that thing down because they were like, no, we need to exploit this petroleum stuff more. So they wouldn't let it come out, you know.
Yeah.
Right
There's
back then.
a lot of nasty things tied to
And so,
oil.
and then these electric cars, they're not even necessarily any better for the environment.
Oh, no, they're not. 'Cause
Yeah, what do you
that-
do with the batteries?
battery?
Yes.
They're terrible.
The batteries are horrible, just
And
dreadful for the environment.
Zones too.
Extremely bad.
Yeah.
Not
What
to
was that?
mention the all the moving around of parts to build these new vehicles, you know. It's like you have to like truck all this stuff over here and ship all this stuff across the ocean, and then, you know, to produce these new things, these new vehicles. Whereas, you know, driving around your old jalopy from 1980 is probably better for the environment than producing a whole new vehicle.
Right. And then, you know, I mean, just this stupid COVID bullshit. Like, I bought a Berkey water filter this week, and the lady that I bought it from lives in Florissant, Colorado. And she told me that all the parts are still on ships outside the United States. And, you know, they still haven't come into port. So what the fuck? How much gasoline is being spent on that? My God. I mean, those people have been out at sea for like months now. You know, I mean, this is ridiculous.
It's
So
I think
don't tell me that it's us that's doing the shit, y'all.
No,
It's
think
you.
all engineered.
Huh?
The whole thing is engineered.
Yeah. So where's the truth? There's no truth in that at all. But they want you to believe that that's the truth. I mean, it is the truth in a certain way when we say that the truth is what is actually happening. But again, you can't really say that that's what's actually happening. Yes, it's actually happening that there are ships unable to come into port. But that is about the best. Why? Why can't they come in? Well, because
Supply chain.
well,
Yeah.
huh?
It's the
Because
supply.
they parked that ship like over a year ago in the Panama Canal. Did that thing ever get moved? Or not the what? No, it wasn't the Panama.
Oh,
I can't remember what canal that was.
the Oman Strait
Yeah,
somewhere in there. Yeah.
and then like they weren't letting anyone through, and then there was a radar map of like how the ship made like a big like penis route as it was like
Really?
going in.
How did I
Or
miss this?
something. Yeah, it's
I don't
weird
watch
stuff. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I mean, that could be still causing supply chain problems.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what she's telling me. I'm like, holy crap. I haven't actually run into any. Well, now also you can't get distilled water now for some reason. There's no distilled water in the supermarkets, which I think has been true on the coasts, but it hasn't been true in Colorado until this week. And why is it? Well, I mean, the claim when I looked online is because the price of masks have gone up and people are now washing their masks at home using distilled water. I mean, I'm like, this is total bullshit. There's some other thing they're doing. I don't know what. But I mean, all this stuff, we didn't have any of this crap before they engineered the stupid fucking COVID bullshit. So now you know that everything that's going on is for the purpose of getting people to beg for
They're crap. Yep.
And take care of us so that, we don't have to deal with this interruption to what we're used to. So there's no truth in any of that. You know what I mean? Yes, it's true in a certain way because it's what's happening, but it's not the truth of what.
It's propaganda, lies.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, even the war, like they don't care. That war, I mean, that's not even I have this friend. I think I probably told you guys. I have this friend who's a Ukrainian guy, and he and his wife escaped to Poland, and they're right on the border right now. And I talked to him on Telegram, and I said, so what's going on? He goes, well, it's hard to believe that horror can become a daily routine. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, yeah, that is true. That he's experiencing that is actually true. Okay. But he believes that the reason that Russia is bombing Ukraine is because the Ukraine is trying to have a democracy. Just like, you guys don't have a clue. I mean, that's not, that's bullshit. That's the narrative. He has no idea what's really happening. He knows what's happening to him, but he believes that it's he believes the lies. He's believing the lies that he's being told so that he can hate Putin or whatever. And
so this friend,
puppet.
this friend that I just mentioned, who just, super bad confirmation bias. So
Super bad what?
Confirmation bias.
Oh, I mean, yeah, right. Yeah.
He just throws out ad hominem attacks and logical fallacies, and anyway, all the time. But he sent me this thing about Evraz. Evraz is the steel mill here, right? It's owned by the Russians.
No, I didn't know that.
But all the management in the United States are all Americans. It's not Russian. But Abramovich, I don't know, he's an oligarch, Russian guy who owns Chelsea United, as a bunch of other things. And Evraz has been making a lot of money making steel. And so because they're doing so well, he keeps getting lots of money in stock. What's that called when they pay out money because the stock's doing so well?
Dividends.
Stock options.
Dividends. Yeah, he's gotten tons of dividends.
Okay.
And there are people that say, close the mill because it's all the steel that they're making is going over to make Russian tanks. That is illogical to me. Russia has its own steel mills. Why would they make it here and ship it there? It's just, that's illogical.
Well, especially because it'd be more likely that they'd make it there and ship it here, because here is more expensive. You have to pay. That's why they moved production of everything to China, because here was too expensive. And that right there is insane, that we screwed our own people over.
I think about that on
Remember
a day.
that?
Yeah, oh yeah. That was
was crazy. I remember that was in the 90s, or early 90s, late 80s. Oh my God, I remember that. Because I worked for a company that in Woodstock, that was a local Woodstock company, and they decided to start making all of their shit in China, and they asked everybody to move to China. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. Thanks. It's crazy shit, man.
So I have to move, and then you're going to pay me less money.
Right, because the cost of living there is so cheap. I mean, it's like, hell no, I'm not going, But then
they're going to cut your salary in half and make you move.
What's going to happen is that, so the Chinese are, they haven't surpassed our GDP, but they're getting there, and their middle class is growing like crazy. I mean, they're doing pretty well. They're not there yet. And that's because they decided to, ship all the manufacturing there because of cheap wages. Well, their wages are going up. So then once ours are beat down enough, they'll come back here.
Exactly. But that's us, the cartel, convinced.
Or we'll find a new
company owners to screw over our own people.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's
So
uncommon.
horrifying.
That's what they do. It's the same thing with war. It doesn't matter.
It's all about, but it's all leading to their agenda end. You see, they've been playing this shit for thousands of years.
Yeah, they have.
So it's not, I can't even imagine trying to explain
Well, the
this
other
shit to my
thing too
family.
is like, oh, it's going to be too expensive to make the stuff in China. There's a chance too that instead of coming back domestically here, they're just going to go find someone else to exploit, like the Philippines or something like that.
Well, Vietnam is being exploited right now.
Well, yeah, oh, you guys don't want to do it for cheap anymore. Here's this other desperate country that we can get to do it for cheap,
But we still have the internet to learn about these things, where in the past we did not have that. So, I mean, that is a kind of a leg up for us for now.
For sure.
Well, I mean, we can just try to get out of the system. That's what we can do, is we can build an alternative system that's more local, and we can give up some of our toys that we've become accustomed to and just live simply once again.
Yep.
And then we can opt out. Hopefully, I'm hoping that that's not too late for that.
I think it's partly like just bringing the consciousness of the masses up, because the more people that wake up and see these fallacies that we've been talking about here, the more people are going to be willing to not follow the agendas and keep up with the status quo.
Well, my people are filtering in.
All right. Well, it was nice having you.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure to talk with you, Jeff.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Well, that's all I got for now. So fill out those cards.
Okay. Yeah. Woody, will you send me that thing?
Yeah, I'll send you the email.
Thank you, because I totally
later
missed
tonight.
Breaking news. I like it. All right.
Have a good one.
Here's mine. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, neat.
Oh, yeah.
Go through the shredder.
I don't see it.
Oh.
That's what you drew tonight?
Can you see that?
Well, no, now it's you switched it to the ceiling. Yes.
I see your face.
like it.
Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong window. That's why.
You see it, Woody?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank
Come
you.
back
It's an
next
Escher
week.
thing.
Yes, it's an Escher
Like
thing.
it.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thank
See
you.
you next time. Have fun tonight.
Hey, could you send me the link to as an email as opposed to a text?
Oh, sure. Where do you want me to?
I'll get on my computer.
All right. Yeah. Yes, I will find your email. Yes, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Okay,
No, I look forward to it.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoy it. Yes, I will
I
definitely.
just have a scheduling problem.
No, that's fine.
All right.
I get you.
You're good.
I'll
You're
send it
good.
next time. Okay.
Okay. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Thanks.
Well, this is so funny because once again, I have done things that I wouldn't have done. You see, I was
look at that. That's
freaking out
pretty.
about what the hell kind of colors I was going to put on here.
That looks pretty. Hold it up again.
Is it pretty? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm having fun.
I like that.
You like that? Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
pretty
have
cool.
mine. I've got it
Yeah.
saying breaking news. 1 + 1 is now 3.
Yeah, it's very good. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
So I can start on my next piece here.
What's the green? Is that like a plant?
Yeah, it's just like a plant that's like, I don't know, in front of it. I don't know why I put that in there. I just figured.
Would you make it a little bit more?
What do you mean?
Because
Make it bigger or?
yeah, because we'll make it look more like a plant. Because it's weird. Because it's not like. It's like an afterthought. Like I think you should maybe expand on it a little bit or something, because otherwise it shouldn't be there. You know what I mean?
Just looks
It should
kind of
be like
out of
that whole
place.
painting is like a symbolic painting. So why is there a plant with 2 leaves growing out of the the lying to himself guy's shoulder? I have to ask that question.
I just was like filling in random stuff that goes in the background, like, you know,
I know, but I just
someone
feel like
might have a plant
there should be
next to
more.
their TV stand, you know.
Yeah, I just think it should be more than 2 leaves. Because otherwise it's weird, because it kind of looks like a tail, like a mermaid tail, or all sorts of other option. I'm just putting it out there, whatever.
Yeah, I might change it. I might forget about it for now and just
Okay.
leave it as is, and hopefully no one else is bothered by the plant. Maybe the plant's a symbolic clue that the guy needs to
Get a grip.
get a grip and observe nature, so
Yes.
that he won't believe that 1 + 1 is now 3.
Because the news says so.
Yes. The news said so, so I believe. I need to
I
research
believe.
this before I believe. So, I don't know, whatever. I'm happy that I thought of something to put in the TV space. So
No, I think it's good. It's definitely.
maybe I will do a little more to that plant at some point, but for now I'm just going to leave it because I want to start on this next piece.
I forget to call him today.
So I was looking at this, you know, part of consciousness is the structure of the brain and how that looks. You know, we've got 3, you know, main sections of the structure of the human brain. You've got the brain stem, which is also referred to as the reptilian brain. And this is like the survival center of the brain. You know, when you're like getting chased by a lion, this is the thing that takes over, is this reptile brain, the brain stem. And then you have the limbic brain, which is referred to as the mammal brain. And this is you know, where the emotions, you know, like love, fear, hate, compassion, these are where these emotional the emotions come from, is this limbic portion of the brain. And then you have the neocortex aspect of the human brain, which is the higher order thinking part of the brain, where, you know, this is where you get the part of the brain that rationalizes things, or this is where the intellect comes from, is that part of the brain. And so
The intellect, though, some people postulate is the our worst enemy.
yes. Well, because what happens with the intellect is it has a way of rationalizing things for personal agendas, you know, like if like you might do something that's immoral to another person, but your intellect rationalized you into tricking yourself into thinking that it was actually moral,
Or it was
within the
okay.
context of where you did this.
Even if it was immoral,
thing.
it's okay because it's justified.
Yeah, it's like justified. Like, it's almost like to really have a silly example, it's almost like if you're driving your vehicle and a bird flies in front of your vehicle and you harm it, you know, your intellect's gonna take over and be like, well, I have to get to my job, so stupid bird shouldn't have been flying in front of me. Well, actually, maybe the fact that you're driving isn't always necessarily a moral thing, I mean,
Or
you just
slow
killed,
down.
yeah, or slow down, or
Or be conscious of animals. Just, I mean,
yeah,
that's a whole, like, I mean,
or
the whole
even
thing
you
about
could
people
even
make
say
jokes about
things,
squirrels running into the road, like they're suicidal. But
right?
actually, animals actually make mathematical calculations about how fast they have to get across the road based on how fast we're going. And then we change our course when we see them, and that destroys their calculation that they made, and then they end up getting hit.
Yeah, or it
That
startles
has,
them, and it causes them to second guess their calculation and maybe double back, because they're like, oh, wait a minute, this thing was going faster than I thought now, or slower than I thought, or however
yeah.
that might.
So it's like, but the intellect makes it like into a joke, like, ha ha ha, animals are so stupid that they run in the
They're just
road.
going to run into my road. But then another thing is, like, you could also pray too. Like, you could say a prayer, like if you see animals on the road and it reminds you that you got to watch out for animals, you could even say a prayer like,
Oh, I do that. Yeah.
I asked the diva of the woodland creatures to please, communicate with the animals that this is a dangerous road and that they need to be extremely careful when crossing this rock, because animals might just think it's a big flat rock when it's just a road, when it's really a road, and so
Right. No,
asking
I mean,
this
I've done that.
this
Whenever I drive in the mountains, I always ask for the animals
could
to stay off
help
the road.
indirectly, there might be some sense or of intuition that the fact that you said that before you went on your mountain drive is kind of like a warning to the creatures of that
Yeah, I
area
never
that
see them. That's
someone's
every
coming
time I say
through.
that, every time I do that, I never see them.
Someone's
It's
coming
amazing.
through, so we should stay clear of here.
Yep. Yep. I do that myself because I don't want to. I mean, I've had different experiences with deer and stuff like that, living in the country. I've lived in the country, so I know. But yeah, that's about consciousness too, because like for me, living in the country, I recognized that if I was in my body while I was driving and not fantasizing or something like that, the animals would actually see me. Whereas
Right.
if I was like up in my head and I wasn't in my body, then they would step out in the road. That was pretty interesting. But yeah, I pretty much use the prayer thing now. Keep the animals off the road. And then I never see them.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I mean, I've
It's
had
really
like
amazing.
some close calls where I've seen, almost came close to hitting animals that just come out of nowhere, basically. And I've started saying that before like every time I get in the car, I'm just like, thank you, Creator, for ensuring my clear path.
Yeah.
Which is basically like, make sure nothing gets in my way.
Yeah.
And obviously stuff still might get in my way. There might be some traffic or something, but
No, that's great. It's great because then, that's acknowledging other creatures besides yourself that have a valid purpose for
I'm
being here.
also like extremely sensitive to like, if I, one time I did accidentally hit a bird, one that deflected off my windshield that came out of nowhere and I didn't see it. And I was like, it like ruined my day. I was like super like sad and just like frustrated that that happened and stuff, and one time a fox like ran right in front of my car And then it actually made it past me. And then at the last second, it doubled back into my car because there was what are those, like those dividers, those highway dividers?
Mm-hmm.
Like at that, like my headlights reflecting off the highway divider, I think scared it, and it like ran back right underneath my vehicle. And the poor fox, I don't know what happened to it, but that was like traumatic for me. I was in tears after that event.
Yep.
And, we have
Consciousness.
to take, responsibility for that, and recognize those emotions when they come, because that's what, that's partly some of those experiences, partly why I ask, for my path to be cleared of animals before I go on a drive now, because of those experiences where most people would just let, oh, well, dumb fox or whatever, move on with their life and not think another second of it, Let me get me a new canvas on here to start working on.
Oops. Frack. I don't have a.
Can I reach this without unplugging my earbuds? We'll see. Ew.
Can't believe I'm using acrylics. This is so funny. I normally never use acrylics, but this project. I'm going to do a different painting too next week. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, but I haven't figured out exactly what it's going to say. So maybe I can, oops. I'm going to make that into a painting. And that goes along with keeping the fruits of your labor. It says you don't have to file a 1040. It is voluntary. So I'm going to do a painting about that. I mean, but see,
cool.
did you see this crazy lettering? I think I'm going to make it into a painting. You see
I
that?
was almost going to put that in that painting I just finished instead of the 1 + 1 = 3.
Oh, I'm going to do this. I think I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it. I have a piece of wood I'm going to use.
1040.
But yeah, I'm going to do that. Because
or I was going to
yeah,
write,
this is,
make sure you file your 1040.
oh really? Oh, that's, oh, in the on the TV.
But I was like, no one's going to understand that because they haven't.
No, because people are indoctrinated to believe that you have to. Yeah, Jonathan was talking to us about it today, and it's interesting because he said that we were nescient when we entered the system when we were kids, and we were coerced into agreeing to be a part of it, and now we have to rescind our agreement. So that is something I am going to be.
Right.
Because it goes
and it's
along with
weird
PM,
too, because like it talks about like the taxes and like corporate profits. Now those are like, if you own a business and you have corporate profits, you do have to report those.
Yeah,
but
if you're foreign,
this is just pertaining to income taxes, which the actual definition of income is basically corporate profits. A profit.
Yeah, they basically just coerced us into believing
and then
that our
which
labor
has nothing
is taxable.
to do.
Oh, bullshit.
Which has nothing to do with wages, labor wages, zero. But they're saying that they're calling labor wages income, which is an example of changing the definition of a word.
Exactly.
Even though they didn't even change the definition of it, they're just people just go under the assumption that that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes along with travel, our right to travel. We don't need a driver's license, but we've because a driver's license is for commercial use only in the law, but we've all been coerced and we all go along with it.
Right.
So now we would have to defend that if we tried to. I mean, there are people doing it, but so yeah, I'm moving in that direction now. That I'm getting help with the PMA shit because it's so damn complicated. But there's a whole movement of people that don't file.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm gonna be part of this movement, I think, because forget it. I'm not doing this shit anymore. This is ridiculous. It's like, I mean, I barely get by, It's not like I'm like
Right.
Miss Rich or anything.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No. I need every cent I make. I'm certainly not going to give it to the war machine. And the other thing, the other lie about that whole thing is that federal income tax even goes to anything within the country. It doesn't. It goes to line the pockets of the frickin' 1%, the cabal.
Thank you.
So that's a whole other fascinating aspect to it.
I just got gifted some yellow paint. Woohoo.
Oh, nice.
It's not all for me, but some of it is. Nice. Thank you.
Nice. I'll just use it up.
So then another two parts of the brain that are important as well are the two hemispheres of the brain. Here, there's that at.
Yeah, that's my dilemma. Is my right brain works much faster and better than my left brain.
And so this is so like the left and the right hemispheres. So you got the intellect coming from the left. That's like the masculine. That would be the esoteric masculine side. And then the intuition is on the right, which would be the feminine side. And both of those are part of the neocortex. So the neocortex of the brain has two hemispheres. The left brain hemisphere largely facilitates logic and scientific thought, while the right brain hemisphere largely facilitates creativity and compassion. When both hemispheres are in balance, the neocortex acts in its proper role as the executive command center of the human brain, and true intellect and creativity is born. And so that's talking about being balanced holistically, but balanced in your intellect and in your intuition, or your left and right brain. An imbalance on one side or another is where you start having problems. And so I think that's next week. We're going to kind of get into these different schisms of these mental schisms of the left and the right brain. So that's a whole nother subject that we're going to get into next week.
Yeah, but
But
let's
for now, we're going to concentrate on just the left and the right hemisphere and the neocortex and the limbic and reptilian brainstem.
yeah, and so they try to polarize us into the right or left, which creates an imbalance in the neocortex and makes it not function properly.
Right. Yes. So since I finished that other painting, I'm trying to think of a way to convey this brain structure thing, and I'm thinking, do I need to do two paintings? One painting that shows the three aspects of it, and then a second painting that shows the two hemispheres, or can I do
Couldn't you
that?
do it using a tree as an example?
A tree?
A tree.
I suppose I could. Like the stem is the trunk of the tree would be the brain stem,
Yeah.
and then I was just gonna actually paint an actual
Especially
brain.
since like it goes into the earth, so that would be kind of like Malkuth.
Right. Because I wanted to convey the three parts of the brain, but then I also, the one part, the neocortex, is actually two parts, which is the left and right hemisphere. And I'm wondering, can I do that in one painting, or does that require two paintings?
I don't know.
Or maybe if I did a bigger one, maybe I could do like have the brain stuff and then
Why do you think you would need two paintings?
I just feel like one, it's like illustrated better from a side view, and one's illustrated better from like a
Oh,
front, top, or back view. But maybe I could do the view with the hemispheres, and then I can just kind of paint the other things like inside. Because in reality, if you look at just the brain, nothing's cross-sectioned out to show you what stuff is. It's just like you just see the two hemispheres, the whole, and just the brain
you could do
stem
it
coming out the
completely
bottom.
symbolically, like in the tarot. You could do a completely symbolic painting.
Right. Which would be not the brain at all. It would just be like,
It would be symbolic. You'd create symbols for each
right.
of those and how they work
Exactly.
together.
Yeah.
Just an idea.
Yeah. Well, that's part of this. What we're doing here is helping each other out, brainstorming, trying to figure
No
out
pun
the best
intended.
way to. Yeah, no pun intended. The best way to convey something, because the expressions of consciousness is kind of like a trivium in itself, because you got the mind, you got action, emotion, and thought. Thoughts, emotions, and actions.
Right, which is why I thought maybe if it was symbolic, you could really birds flying in the air and the planets and stuff like that. You could use each of those as
right
with a tree and everything. But
yeah, I'm getting that. Because there are some symbols too where people use, like the Star of David, for example, is one triangle. It's the Star of David is two triangles, right? One pointing up and one pointing down, and they're representative of the masculine and the feminine.
It's been
aspects.
co-opted to the point where I don't think you can even use that symbol anymore, sadly.
Right.
It's so co-opted.
Yeah, and so,
like
but that's actually three-dimensionally is a Merkaba, or no, yeah,
Yeah, a Merkaba.
three-dimensionally becomes the Merkaba. And so,
Which
and that,
is
but that's like a
exactly,
representative of the balance of the hemispheres,
yeah, it's
which is interesting.
incredible. And you can travel in it. According to
Oh yeah,
Drunvalo, you can do a meditation and travel in it
yeah.
to other dimensions.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, here's some more stuff on the right. So, you know, if a being's right brain hemisphere becomes chronically dominant, the limbic system will take over executive function of the brain, and the person will become ruled by their own emotions and develop a personality based in submission and naivete. Contrary, if a human being's left brain hemisphere becomes chronically dominant, the R complex will take over executive function of the brain, and the person will become ruled by selfishness and base desires and develop a personality based in domination and control.
Yep.
And so that's why it's so important to have a balance, because when you have that sacred balance, then you understand non-aggression, you understand not
So
violating
the
people's free will.
right, and so you can see though too how the Cabal has purposefully polarized us into one side or the other using their various techniques. TV,
Yeah.
or men don't cry, or the army, or women, or Democrats and Republicans. Like Democrats have a mommy issue and Republicans have a daddy issue. But that's all by design. It's all by design. So that we are polarized and so that our neocortex doesn't function properly.
Correct, because, brain, they're actually creating unhealthy brains. So like a
On
healthy
purpose.
brain health plays critical role in human behavior. So if you mess with that, then the behavior is going to correlate to, you might have bad behavior or good behavior, but it's not going to be balanced. So it's extremely important for human beings to become familiar with the brain's basic structure and function. These main complexes comprise the human brain: the R complex, reptilian brain, which facilitates basic survival function, and the limbic system, mammalian brain, which facilitates human emotion, and the neocortex, human part of the human brain, which facilitates higher thought function and consciousness. So if you get stuck in one of the complexes, you're not going to really be fully conscious. I think I can do this with just using the brain. I can just use color to represent the different parts of the brain. And, it'll still be a cutaway. It'll just be a cutaway with this from the back instead of the side, showing because I can still show the three parts with a cutaway, with the brainstem and then the middle section, which is the limbic, and then the outer section, which is the neocortex. So I think I'm going to start. diving into that.
Dive on in. I'm doing stuff I
Dive
can't even believe I'm
on
doing.
in.
Like I'm painting those wires. I didn't think I was going to paint the wires. This is insane. I never
There
would
you
have
go.
thought I was going to do this.
There you
So
go.
I'm still working on I get to so this is the interesting thing. So the schedule I'm working on right now is that I get to keep the fruit of my labor. And while I'm going through this other thing with private membership associations and taxes and all these other things. So I mean, I could theorize that this working with this sigil is bringing this on subconsciously. That's what I would theorize, that the timing of everything is interestingly congruent with my working on this sigil. I have the inalienable right to keep the fruits of my labor,
Yeah,
not give it to the cabal.
it's almost like the fact that you put attention on that subject by doing the sigil has taken you down or led you to new rabbit holes of discovery.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's totally fascinating. And believe me, I would stay away from this stuff completely. But now, I mean, the fact that there's people from my team that are going to join in, and we're going to start working on this together.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, because I had this other chick here in Colorado that was going to help me. But I could tell, I could feel that she wanted to use it for money. Huh?
Her motives were not as genuine as this other
they were not.
person.
No way. They were
who you're going to study
No,
with.
I knew she was going to, she even told me she wants to make money doing it. And I'm like, oh no. But I was so desperate to get help with it. I was like, well, I'm just going to go for it. But now I don't have to. Now I can just say, oh, got another option.
Right.
Because we're doing this, we're doing a webinar about it now. Coming up on June 4th. We're going to do a free webinar on legal solutions, lawful solutions, and then the PMA thing is going to be discussed. And there's, and there's all kinds of weird stuff going on with that too. Like, where certain people who I thought were like totally genuine people are turning out to be totally scumbags.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That stinks.
Yep. Huh?
I said that.
Yeah,
stinks.
it does stink. It's all about money. It's all about money. It's all about money.
That is one of the
People are
largest
so
problems.
Neanderthal in their thinking that they actually think that, getting over on other people still to this minute is like still okay. And it's just not okay. We're like at the crux of the time where we need to help each other. And yet there's still people who think that they have the right to make money off of these and then cause confusion and then penalize other people and use tyranny, tyrannical methods to control other people. It's just, it's really freaks me out. I'm like, hey, we don't have time for this bullshit anymore. Okay.
Yeah. We're like
at the precipice.
We're at the moment of decision.
Yeah. We're like, humanity's moment of truth, I think may or may not have come and gone. It's like, we're done with this crap. You've made your last dollar, get over it, move on. But they're still trying to make their last few pennies, few shekels, as I'll put them, shekels. It's amazing to me. It's really amazing. Truly, truly amazing. I'm like, wow, you guys you're lost. You're so lost. It's amazing how lost you are.
Right.
But yeah, it's freaking scary. Scary.
I agree. Well, it's a paradigm thing, you know. We're still in this scarcity dog eat dog paradigm where people think that you have to get one over on someone in order to, you know, make money, or you people are using their intellect to decide that, oh, I have something of value, which value it's totally comes from the intellect. I feel like, and you know, especially if you're thinking of man-made things that have value, I feel like that's like an intellect product of the intellect, whereas, you know, where you're like, oh, I have this high value skill that I believe I only possess, and that so I'm going to charge people an exorbitant amount of money so I can share this high value skill with them, versus just sharing the skill without having to have the money, just to be a good person, like, you know.
Right.
Which
You
would
know, I
be
was thinking
in an
about, you know,
abundance paradigm where you're like, oh, I figured out this cool thing that's going to help everyone, not just myself. Let's teach everyone how to do it, instead of like, oh, like I'm not going to teach anyone how to do it, but it produces this result, and so I'm going to keep producing the result and then sell it to other people versus just sharing it with them.
right. Like, for example, with this show, I was thinking, it popped into my head that what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a suggested price for the artwork, but then I'm just going to say, but pay what you want. Buy it,
Yeah, I don't know. I
pay
was
whatever you
just
feel like.
thinking I was just gonna, so I'm doing kind of these quickie small pieces. I was just gonna kind of have them pretty like moderately priced, and then I was gonna do, or you can buy them all for this other bigger price, since they're all kind of gonna go together, you know, in like a kind of a narrative that we've kind of been going through. Although I don't think my narrative is going to be complete by the time the truth show happens. So we'll see. We'll see how that works
Yeah,
out.
so that's how I think I'm going to do it, because one time I did a show where I just had people, I just said, you know, donate whatever, and that was too intimidating for people because people are used
They
to
weren't.
having a price. So now this time what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come up with a price, and then I'm going to say, but if you want it, just pay whatever you feel like.
You could just say suggested prices, blah blah blah. You know, and then, oh, what's suggested price mean? Oh, that means that this
Well,
is
it's
what I
based on
suggest.
time and materials,
This
but
is what I suggest that it should cost. But you know, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna be flexible with my price. So I don't know how he works that. He might have like a price log somewhere where people look at that. I know galleries do it differently. Like sometimes they just have it right next to the artwork on the little card or whatever. And then I've also seen it where they actually put that in the like a little catalog where, and then all the pieces are just maybe named and numbered, so you know what you just go to the catalog and you look at the name of the piece or the number, and then you know, oh, this is $3,000 or whatever. So. And then I have that other painting. Remember that drawing I showed you like a couple months ago with the like head and the sacred geometry and the different schisms within the brain?
oh yeah.
I think I'm going to start working on that next week. And that one might take me a little more than 1 week to finish. I don't know.
I'm going to do those letters.
Kind of depends on how big I decide to do it, because that's an important one to me. And I think there's a little bit more going on in that thing than I could probably pull off in a night or two. So that one might drag on a little bit longer. We'll see.
Yeah, so I'm going to start doing that. I think that that design with the letters this week, as long as I feel good enough to do it, because my back I'm still
You're still having those.
I'm still
back
hobbling around. Yeah, I'm going to get a massage
issues.
on Wednesday, but so it doesn't make me, I'm not that inspired to do work when I'm in pain, but
Yeah, I had kind of a sickness came through our house this last week and just wasn't very motivated. Just like whatever, just some congestion and stuff. Who knows?
yeah, you
It
don't
wasn't
have to
anything
explain
too
it.
serious.
Don't
Wasn't
worry.
anything serious.
I
Don't
don't
worry.
care.
So,
People get
but yeah,
stuff. They always have,
and I always will.
and they always will. Call it whatever the hell you want.
Right.
But I'm just, yeah. But yeah, I want to do that painting. So that's kind of cool that I got inspired to do something else besides these things I'm doing.
Yes, that is cool.
That's kind of neat. I thought, oh, that's cool. Cool. I can actually, uh, go off my path that I gave myself and do something
Right.
else. But yeah. So yeah, that's the sad reality of humanity, is that people who believe they actually have a solution to a lot of our problems are still stuck. And I mean, the solution for that, in my point of view, is faith in the universe and the energy of the universe, that you'll get what you need, especially if you do the right thing and help people out. You'll get even more than you would get if you were trying to get yours.
For sure.
By
Yeah,
trying to be helpful.
because when you share valuable information that makes people's lives easier, that lowers the overall entropy for everyone on planet Earth, not just a few.
So yeah,
And when you do it in a way that's honest and in line with natural law, it progresses quicker because you're not keeping it secret, because you might have figured out a new strategy for growing fruit that's more efficient. And if you share that with everything, one of the people you share it with might have a little tweak they make to that that's going to even make it even more efficient. And then but if you don't share it, you just exploit it and charge money for your service, then it's actually that it's going to take longer for someone to figure out your so-called secret, that you're concealing from people and keeping them omniscient or ignorant of. And that's going to slow down the progression of that technology or whatever it may be, just because it's kept secret for too long. And it's, if things aren't kept secret, if stuff is all transparent and out there, then it's lends itself to the fact that things can keep moving on quicker, because the rate of discovery is much quicker for everyone on a mass scale. And so everyone's creative in their own unique ways. They're going to find different nuanced things to make this even run smoother. And if you look at it like that, then it's like, why wouldn't you want to share that type of information?
Well, because I mean, the thing is what I think about is the pot laws in Colorado. Like what happened when the pot laws were reversed in Colorado, and how pot was like $400 an ounce for a while there, while people made money hand over fist. And people came into Colorado and bought up all the property and drove up all the prices and made it impossible to live here now. And now pot prices are back down to like whatever, reasonable price. But this is the same with PMAs, is like people are trying to make money, and they're obfuscating the process. And the thing is they're going to cause harm because, people are going to do what these people say because they think they're telling them the truth, and that they're not obfuscating the information. And then they're going to end up getting themselves in trouble because they don't know the truth about it. And
Right.
Unfortunately, like you're saying, like if we didn't have this kind of stupid competition, money making mindset, we could just be helping each other, and we could get
Right.
past into a much more effective realm than the one we're in right now, more
For
quickly.
sure.
But
Oh yeah, way more quickly.
it's just just sad. But I mean, I think the people that they're going to get it handed to them too. I mean, I think you get that. Like if you're doing that and you're causing harm, the universe is going to balance the books, and it's not very fun.
Eventually, yeah. And
The
sometimes the problem with that too is whether you like it or not, or sometimes when the universe balances the books, it affects everyone, not just the person that started the causal factor for the universe to, make a little edit. You know what I mean? Like it's like they're like, the fact that they're doing that drags other people into the situation because we share this reality.
Well, I don't think it's random. I mean, I think
It's not random. It's just that we share it.
Whoever's
And
in the situation, who
with
gets
the degree,
clobbered by the situation,
yeah,
are people who have participated in such a way that they need to be have their hands slapped, probably.
right. And sometimes in doing that, a new law is birthed, though, that affects everyone, because like, oh, this bad thing, this person did this bad thing. And so now there's a fear of another person doing the similar bad thing. So now we create a man-made law that's redundant, that, because if you really are in tune with natural law, then you know that the thing is bad and immoral, and you exercise conscience and don't do it. But as soon as you have a man-made human law, then now you have authority that is going to uphold that law, and everyone is underneath that blanket of authority. So, indirectly, it's affecting more than just the person that's doing it.
Yeah, I
To a
don't know if
degree.
that's going
I
to
mean, there's
happen
different
really
degrees,
with this,
but like,
because I mean, this is in the private. There's no way. The thing about this is there's no way to sue anybody in this situation because it's in the private. You just basically you just to take risks, and sometimes you end up getting screwed over by assholes, and you have to trust that the universe is going to balance the books. Because I don't think
right.
because it's in the private, I don't think, unless, because the thing is it's not a nefarious act of evil that they're doing. It's just fucked up what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's not, super evil what they're doing. It's just
No, I get it.
unfortunate. You know
I
what I'm
think I
saying?
was just, I think I was taking it more just in a broader sense, not necessarily only focusing on the PMA aspect.
No, I know what
I
you're
was taking
saying,
it
but
into
I'm
the
just saying,
broader sense of things.
in this case, it's just an unfortunate, wrinkle in time that they have to try to make money.
Well, they're
And
being opportunistic because they're seeing the censorship and the taking away of freedoms that are happening, and they're like, oh, hey, here's a private membership association as a loophole that you can use to usurp some of these freedoms that are getting, or rights that are getting basically trampled for these agendas. And they're like, oh, here's a loophole within that corrupt system that you can use to help protect yourself from some of that nonsense, which is good. Is a good tool to know about, but the exploitation of that tool isn't necessarily good.
No.
And
But
even
I think
the fact that that tool has been hidden and kept secret isn't good either.
no. Nope.
So,
but
because that slowed stuff down,
oh yeah.
collectively for everyone. The fact that that is like that. That
Yep.
makes sense.
Right. So I guess we could actually bring this into the, it's basically the amygdala that causes people to do shit like this. Honestly, it's the fight or flight mechanism that causes people to believe that they have to get over on other people.
Right. So they don't have a balanced brain outlook on it, and so they're going to fall into that complex, which we were talking about earlier. Let me look at that real fast, since it came back up.
Right. That's what's happening, is that
yeah, it's that R complex. They're going into that reptilian brain, and there is an imbalance, and that's where that selfishness, and because selfishness stems from that survival instinct of having to keep yourself alive,
right.
Versus
Well, enlightened self-interest. I mean, there's another concept called enlightened self-interest, where you know that if you help others, you will be helped, and you'll be helped so much more, and so much more, many people will be helped, that you act against your selfishness and you help others first. And
right.
that can be considered enlightened self-interest. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I don't want mine, but I'm just going to make sure you get yours first.
Or we're going to get ours at the same time, because I'm sharing this with you. You're going to get, I'm breaking this piece of bread in half, so you're going to get half and I'm going to get half, versus I'm just going to eat this piece of bread and you can go fend for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
And that's sharing. Once again, it's, sharing with each other so everyone can succeed. You eat that whole piece of bread yourself, you might have a stomach ache, but if you share that piece of bread, then your stomach's going to feel fine because you didn't overeat. As a weird bread analogy I just made up.
Uh-huh. Well, I have a spiritual guy in my life who coined that term, enlightened self-interest, and proved it over and over again. But the truth is, you do have to put the oxygen mask over your nose and mouth first before you can help another. That is true.
But,
but you don't have to hog the whole thing. I mean, that's where we're at now. It's like, dude.
Well, because you're doing yours first, and then that way you're still able to do the guy next to you or your kid who doesn't understand the concept of oxygen and that you need it to breathe. And why do I have to put this mask on? It's like, well, now that I have oxygen, I can explain that to my kid and make sure it's on their face, Versus if I don't put it on my face first, then I might be unconscious by the,
Exactly.
I put it on my kid's face and then I'm unconscious and my kid has no idea why I'm unconscious.
Or what to do.
Yeah, or what to do.
Because they're a kid.
Because they're a kid. And haven't reached the level of understanding as an adult.
What time is it? 7 o'clock. I can't believe I finished this. I mean, I've got to let it dry a little bit before I can figure out what else to do with it.
Isn't that crazy how that happens? Sometimes you just like move faster. when
Oh
you're
my
doing
God. Well, I mean, I've
this.
been
It's
staring
like
at
you
this thing
fly
for a
through
week
things.
thinking, what colors am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And I had this whole idea in my head and I didn't do it at all, which is good. 'Cause
Nice.
it's always better when I don't do what I think I should do and I just follow my intuition.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's funny. I wonder if it is bowed. It's not that bad.
So, yeah, thinking about some colors here. I already painted some stuff I didn't want to, but that's okay. Nice thing about oil paint is you can change things around and erase stuff. If I were using acrylic, it'd all be dry and I couldn't do anything to fix
Right,
anything.
exactly. I have to let this
I
dry, so
didn't
I
really
guess I'm
mess
going to
anything.
switch.
I didn't really mess
over.
anything up. I just have some, I forgot to leave out a section for the this part of
I
this
guess
other
I'm going to
part of the
work on
brain.
this thing, this weird. Just try and I'm going to try and get these letters on here. And what I might do is I might just put so.
Okay, cool.
Well, the thing about this is you don't have to file a 1040. It is voluntary, is kind of the antithesis of a sigil, but I really like the design, so I think I'm going to stick with it.
Is that in your sketchbook there?
Yeah, that's what it's my sketchbook. I don't know if you can see that.
Can you move it to towards your computer a little bit?
Can you see that?
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to just go with it because I really like it.
Cool.
And then maybe I'll just
Do it.
throw that sigil in there as a positive statement. I'll just throw the keep the fruits of your labor sigil in there on top of it somewhere. I'll just put that in there so that. Yeah,
I decided I'm going to make the brain stem red. And then I'm going to make the drawing a blank on my terminology now, as usual. Yeah, there. I'm going to make the brain stem red, and I'm going to make the limbic brain green. And then I'm going to make the neocortex pink and purple. One hemisphere is going to be pink and one hemisphere is going to be purple. What do you think of that?
I think it sounds trippy and it'll be cool. And I'm like feeling like I'm not liking this board. I might have to make a piece of cardboard for this instead because it's too long for this design that I like. But
It is pretty long.
maybe I'll just try it and see how I feel about it.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, because I could always do it because I mean I've got a whole hour. I can't really. I'm not going to be able to do another cardboard thing right now. So I guess that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just do it on here, and then if I don't like it, I can do it on something else later. Oops. This keeps falling out. Okay, fine, whatever. I guess I need a pencil.
I'm wondering, it's like the cerebrum.
Huh?
I guess there's a cerebrum. It looks like that's maybe part of the brain stem.
Are you looking at a picture?
Yeah. I was just looking at, yeah, just a picture. It's like a scientific diagram of a brain, you know, because there's many, many more parts of the brain than the 3 we talked about, or 5 actually that we talked about. You know, like there's the pineal gland that's inside there too, the third eye. That's part of the intuition and stuff. And a bunch of, you know, like the optic nerve and all these things are, that's kind of like the input, part of the input area. So, yeah. We won't worry about those parts because that's not what we're part of our discussion here today. But consciousness, I think consciousness at large, the degree people are conscious really affects our day-to-day lives in a huge way, more than people think.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people remain ignorant of that aspect, and they ignore a lot of the discovery steps that are required to heighten your consciousness level, which is really pay attention. Knowing, you know, paying attention is a big part of consciousness. Which could be as simple as pay attention to your emotions, because that might be your intuition telling you that something you're about to do is wrong.
Oh, definitely. You know, recently.
And that would be on an internal, you know, thing.
I have an experience with that from recently. A friend wanted to try out something on me, some kind of therapy thing, and she wanted to charge me like an exorbitant amount of money for it.
Oh yeah.
And I tried it out. I tried it out, but it was so much money that I started having like panic attacks. And I just thought, you know what? This is wrong. I've got to stop doing this. I did it about twice. I guess I did it twice. Huh?
If it's giving you a panic attacks, you might want to like think about.
I just stopped. I was like, you know what? this is my system telling me that this isn't right. So I just stopped.
Nice.
And
Well, see, some people, wouldn't listen to that advice from their, intuition, and they would just continue doing that thing. Like, why is this making me feel so horrible? Or they may even not even recognize that that's because of that that's making them feel bad. They might be like, oh,
yeah.
I don't know, it's some other reason that I'm feeling bad about
yeah.
this situation. It has nothing to do with this other thing.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, actually, this happened the other day. Kurt's son called and said he thought he had to go to the hospital because he thought he was having a heart attack. And I thought to myself, he's having a panic attack. There's no way he's having a heart attack, right? I thought that to myself.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, I'll come pick you up. So I went and picked him up, and I was talking to him. He's like, do you think I need to go to the hospital? And, I don't think anyone should go to the hospital now because, they're going to tell you it's COVID and try to kill you with a ventilator. So I said, no, I don't think you need to go because I think you're having a panic attack. And he started telling me all the things that were going on. And I'm like, dude, you're having a total full-on panic attack right now.
Right.
And he realized, and we were able to help him. But I think people are generally just so unaware of themselves at this point that they could actually think that they were having a heart attack. I'm sure my brother had a heart attack, but he's triple jabbed. So anybody who's triple jabbed is probably going to have a lot of problems. Sorry.
Well, could have contributed to his stress levels. I'll just make that comment.
That's my yeah. I mean,
and that's gonna
the kid
make you have a heart
he
attack.
was trying to move. He was trying to move. He lost his job. He didn't have a car. I mean, there were so many factors that were causing him stress.
I would have a panic. I'd probably be having a panic attack too if I were him.
Yeah, exactly. So then we were able to help him, though. That was the good part of it. We were actually able to help him out.
That is a great part of it.
But, I mean, I think lack of awareness. We've just become so lost. This whole culture is just so lost. We're just so lost. It's incredible. It's amazing.
Well, I'm not sure the accuracy of my shapes of the things I'm drawing, but I don't really think that really matters for this piece.
No.
I'm just showing that these things are there.
So is that the amygdala?
This is the, yeah. Well, there's the brain stem and then that, and then these are the neocortex hemispheres. I'll probably label them at some point. I might have to wait for it to dry a little bit first. So I'll probably label them at some point, but I might have to wait for it to dry before I do that. We'll see. I might not have to. First, we're just going to paint them in. And then
Yeah, I'm going to have to do this over on something wider. Or maybe I could have done it wide, but I don't like it. I'm going to have to do this on a...
Could always cut it in half or something, maybe.
And it's MDF. So,
okay.
No, I'm just going to have to make a piece of cardboard frame for it and then do it, I think. Or I'll just have to go buy a piece of wood or something. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do this.
We'll figure it out.
I will. I will figure it out. Yep. I definitely will figure it out. And maybe I will change it because I don't like the "you don't" thing isn't good. Because your subconscious sees that and says you do. It doesn't recognize negatives.
Right.
So I would have to change it. And I knew when I was doing it that there was something wrong, but I wasn't sure. I didn't know what it was until later.
Or what do you have as the saying that you had?
You don't have to
Down?
file a 1040. It is voluntary. So all it has to be is it is voluntary to file a 1040. But I like
Right.
the design. The thing
Or
is,
you
I
could
like
even do that, like, there is no law indicating that you have to file the 1040. Right, because isn't that part of it? There's not actually a law.
Well,
like
I would have
the
to say
weird-
IRS code law, but see, then it goes into
Oh.
doesn't. So I'd have to say, um,
Okay.
and there is no. See, it's all got to be in the positive. It is voluntary to file a 1040. I'll have to think about it. I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, I think that might be the best wording. You're right.
But I like the designs here, so.
Well, it's funny in that video where they're like, here's this small document, the Constitution or whatever. It was like just like a small pamphlet the lady was holding, and then here's IRS code book, and it's like this massive, like 4 inches thick, like thing. She's like, here's this little document here that you could probably read in a couple hours or whatever, that freed like a whole nation. And then here's this document over here that is basically complete gobbledygook, but it's like a huge, massive, like 4-inch book that would take probably like months to read. I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Actually, I could do something like where I go, income is corporate profit. I'll have to spend some time on this.
Right. It's a good concept to bring
Income
up,
is
though.
corporate profit. Yeah, just to make the letters into a really nice design of these statements. And then when you read it, you're like, what? Income is capital gains. Labor is untaxable. That works. I think you can do that.
Mhm.
It is voluntary.
Which is weird. Like, I mean, why that's just like a total, if it's voluntary, but then everyone's touting that it's not voluntary. That's like,
Well, what they are saying is that they created the voluntary tax system so that you can voluntarily figure out what the tax is rather than letting the government do it for you.
right.
But that's just bullshit. It's just bullshit and a lie, because it's just not, it's not true based on the inalienable right. They are a mafia organization that tell you they're going to protect you if you pay them, and then they don't. It's satanic, full on.
Oh yeah,
utterly. And the IRS is I mean, I could say this too. The IRS is outside of the US. It's the private.
Yeah, it's not. It's like private. Yeah, it's not like.
It's not, tax dollars, federal income tax dollars.
Or just the Federal Reserve notes themselves aren't
Well,
really.
that, yes, but I'm talking about this. Federal income tax dollars do not support social programs. They line the pockets of the 1%.
Yeah, which is the banking cartels who the Federal Reserve is indebted to.
Well, the Federal Reserve is them. That's them. The Federal Reserve.
Well, yeah,
this,
yeah.
This all they.
Yeah.
We're not indebted. The Federal Reserve isn't even part of the U.S. either. They're
Well, I'm
just
just saying
skimming
that the
off our
income,
labor.
the income tax, most people think that goes towards like building highways and stuff, but it
Yeah,
doesn't.
no.
It goes towards paying off the national debt, which is lining the pockets of the elites that own the Federal Reserve, which no one even really knows who the owners of the Federal Reserve are, because it's not even publicly discussed. It's occulted, you know. So it's like, oh, we have all this debt to who? Some, you know, powerful banking families. Which ones? We're not going to disclose that information. That's on a need to know basis. That's what's so like ridiculous about. They're just gonna, you know, like in that documentary, they're just gonna, you know, gaslight you and try to change the subject. That's no good. A little bluer. I thought it was gonna be. Right. I've got some pastel-y
It looks like a ice cream cone, cotton candy,
right. Okay, so
food.
I'm using symbolical cotton candy as my brain symbolism. How do you like that? People.
Oh, so it's the pink and blue on purpose?
Yeah, because it's like you know, I have to illustrate the fact that the left and right hemisphere are different. In that, you know, the left hemisphere is that part that has the intellect and the scientific kind of mathematical brain, whereas the right is the feminine, esoteric feminine, creative, intuitive side. So I figured they should be different colors. I picked.
But it's weird
pink
because pink and
and
blue
purple.
are you know, masculine and feminine in
Well, this is
babies.
supposed to be purple,
Oh, okay.
but it does it
Maybe it
look too
is.
blue to
It's
you?
it probably is purple.
It's like a purplish. I don't know. It's like a light purple. To me, it looks like a light purple.
Well, it probably is. This is, you know, LED or whatever,
Right.
you know, the computer screen is.
Yeah, it does kind of look bluish on my computer, doesn't it? Oh well. And then I got it backwards then. If this is blue, this side should be,
I know, but not necessarily though.
you know, because if you're thinking of those labels like, oh, feminine is pink and masculine is blue, then I've got it backwards. But I wasn't really thinking of it like that. I was just like
No, I don't think so.
purple, purple and pink are similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
but
it's
they're
just red
different
violet
colors.
and blue violet.
Hmm. So I don't know. It's like one of those things. I'm not overthinking it. I'm just doing it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's exactly where with that thing, this went down that.
Because
I
like
have
it's
to
like
wait for it to dry.
you start overthinking it, and then you just don't do anything.
Oh
You know?
yeah, no, that's
You just
why.
end up like not, with the I just end up sitting here talking to you and not doing any art.
I know. I can't believe I painted this in such a quick time. It's so crazy.
Sometimes I do that anyways, just because I'm preparing stuff. Like I'm like, oh, like I need to mix this color. Or like
I just
just
didn't
finished
mix
this
up a
painting.
batch of paper clay today, so I have to do that because I
I
cut my
think of,
finger. That was the other reason I cut my
oh,
finger. So I was like, I didn't feel like I should mix up a batch of paper clay until my finger heals up.
oh, yeah. That if you do, maybe wear gloves.
Yeah, I don't have gloves.
So yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, you might as
I'll
well
just
wait
wait.
for
I mean, it's not
healing.
that bad. It's not that bad. It's getting better because I use colloidal silver on it.
Oh, nice. Have you been making that then yourself?
I started to, but we ran into this problem with the distilled water being there's no distilled water on the shelves. So
Well, can't you make your own distilled water?
I tried, but it really didn't work.
It's hard to do.
It wasn't as easy as it looked.
Well, because basically it has to turn into steam, and then the steam has to go into the second vessel, and then that is the distilled water.
I know how to do it, but it didn't really work that well. So
Yeah.
because of other factors that they didn't talk about in the video.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't feel like it was really clean, really distilled. So then I made another batch that might work.
Well, you can have some pretty sophisticated contraptions hooked together to, if you're really distilling things down like a distillery would.
Well, I'm actually I bought a distiller that
Oh,
that's
cool.
just that they're back ordered because I think that on the coasts, it's probably been distilled water has been out off the shelves for a while. So people use distilled water for humidifiers and their sleep apnea machines and different things like that. And so I guess they started buying the distillers. And
water anymore.
usually I've heard that we don't see the shortages as quickly as the coasts see them. So I'm guessing that this is a shortage that's been going on. Like according to the internet, it's been going on since February.
Oh, wow.
And we just didn't see it until this week.
Wow.
So Chris my friend who taught the class, I guess he's been buying distilled water this whole time. And now he's realizing he's going to have to start making it himself. And he'll figure out how to do it. He said he's going to build a still, which I'm like, oh my God. Okay, well, he has property, so he can do that.
Right.
So. Oh, he said, I asked him, he says old pressure cooker and copper coils. That's what he said he's going to do. See,
so you can hook you can hook the copper coil up to where you'd normally have the pressure release valve, and then all the steam goes through the copper coils and into the second vessel out of the pressure cooker.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to check it out.
Maybe
I don't know.
That's just me kind of like in my head diagramming how that would work.
He's a mechanical engineer, so I'm sure he knows how to do this shit. So I'd have to ask him. I'll have to see it. But I mean, we definitely need to have these plans in place. That's what the whole point. Like I just bought a Berkey, which I wasn't going to do that. But then it was like, well, what if you need water and you don't have electricity or something. You need to purify water. And I was like, yeah, I think I will get this thing now. So I did. I'm starting to prep. Like I'm starting to get intuitive feelings about how to prep.
Yeah, I've been wanting to try to like rig up a water like wheel kind of like thing to like try to harvest electricity from the creek by my house.
Oh, good. Really?
To like, well, not super seriously yet, but it's been in my, uh, idea for a way that I could do get power my house without having to be on the grid. But I think it might be illegal. I'm not sure because of
Oh,
the.
I'm sure, but maybe no one has to see it. You can make it so
Yeah, I was
it's
thinking like if I could make like a micro, like a little tiny one, and just like charge up like DC batteries that I can move and hook up to the power system. Maybe that would be a way to do it. I don't know.
or you could make it so that, your neighbors benefit and then they won't tell on you.
Yeah. The other thing too is like I saw on someone's content creators. I don't know if it was on one of their social media feeds, but there was someone was creating these exercise bikes that you can hook up to where like if you ride this exercise bike for half an hour, that's enough to power average family home for one day worth of
Are you
power usage.
serious? Half an hour?
Yeah. I mean, like if you
What?
had like a really big mansion, you might be looking at more like 2-3 hours on that thing, but they're just talking like an average home that, a family of 4 would live in. You could power the whole house by riding this exercise bicycle for half an hour. And I was
I have
like,
to look
well,
that up.
I need to exercise more anyways.
I have to look
So if
this
I
up.
could, yeah, this
Do
was a
they have
long time
batteries?
ago.
Is it a battery
I don't
thing?
know. I think that you probably, yeah, you it it charges a bank of batteries that then will ties into your uh home power system, board or your circuit panel, whatever you want to call it.
Wow.
And I mean, the thing that I saw didn't really get into depth on the device, and maybe the device isn't even like this. It was just more of like an experiment thing. I don't know. This was like probably 4 or 5 years ago that I stumbled on that too, and I don't know, something that could be, if that's a real thing, and if everyone got one of those in their house, that could be a way to get off of and then it doesn't matter if the sun's out either, or if you live in an area where you don't get enough sun for solar, you can still power your home by riding this bicycle for, half an hour or something. And then it's healthy for you too, because you're getting in exercise and cardio.
Oh yeah, no, it sounds like a good idea. It sounds like all around good. I'm gonna have to check it out. Especially, I mean, I can't believe that you can actually power that much.
Because I even
Sounds
contacted this other company. It's out of Boise, Idaho, and they make it was actually on the same person's social media feed that I saw. It was this Peloton device that you can put in a creek that you can power your house with, and it's pretty small. It's no bigger than like maybe like a desktop, an older desktop computer. And it has like a little water wheel in it, but you have to have like, it can't be just any creek. There's a thing called headwater when you're on a creek, and that's the way it flows. And like certain types of headwater or you need in order to use that system, and I was having trouble figuring out if my head water was powerful enough to use that thing.
Wow.
But I actually contacted the company, and because they sell like they said this company actually has a kit that you can buy it and install it yourself. So I need to look back into that stuff a little more.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So do you think I should
Definitely.
draw like a head kind of outline around this thing, or should I just leave it as it is like that, and then maybe just do like a color, like a dark
Yeah, do a dark background.
background, like a dark brown or something, and then not worry about putting the outline of the human head in there? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I'd make
I
it an
could still do the
abstract.
dark background and have a human head
Yeah, it's like
if I
dark
want
in
to
there.
later, but yeah,
It's dark in there.
it's dark in there. Well, but part of it, like if I drew the thing around it, then I don't know.
Well,
Whatever.
you could do that.
I think I'm going to do the dark first, and then I could
Where's
always
but I
do.
mean, where's the beginning of the spine? You could do that too. Is that, I mean,
I
it was,
just kind of made this kind of fade out. Like it's just, we're not really, the brain stems here. We're not really like, it probably is somewhere in here, but I'm not really indicating that where the spine starts and the brain stem stops for this piece. Which that's another thing that's like a lot of people don't, understand the truth that like with like chiropractic care and spinal care, a lot of people think that's like a quack kind of medical field, but they're missing the fact that your spine is where all the information most is. It's like the fire wire, or whatever, the ethernet cord of your body, that's taking all the information to all the stuff. So if you have spinal misshapes or different, pinches or whatever it could be blocking information and causing chronic illness that could be solved just by getting your spine healthy again.
oh yeah, because I mean, I know because I've been massaging my muscles lately, because I mean, I've discovered that it's a muscular problem. And so then what happens when I do that is I can feel it in my spine. I massage the muscles in my leg and I can feel it in my spine.
Oh, wow.
Because the
Have you ever
nerves.
tried, I'm sure you've tried using the arnica gel to
Oh yeah, this
relieve
is way
pain?
past arnica, man. We're way past there, dude.
I figured that,
We're so
that
past.
stuff
I
is
mean, I
like,
use
can
it.
be a miracle for me sometimes. Like the other day I had like this like lower back pain that I was just like, what the heck? Why do I have this back pain and why won't it go away? And then I put some arnica on there, and within minutes it was gone.
That's good.
Completely gone. Just like
No, that's cool. No,
not even like a inkling
so,
that it was there.
that's nice. No, I'm glad. This is, I don't know. This is like the piriformis muscle, I think, which is the muscle that connects the hip to the femur, the upper hamstrings.
The hip
And
bone's connected to the leg bone.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's in a spasm probably right now is what it feels like. And it actually feels like bones are broken sometimes. There's some certain movements that I can make that make it feel like there's like a sharp bone in there,
Ooh.
which is not true. But yeah, it's out of control, crazy, intense.
Like,
So yeah, I think I'm kind of beyond the I mean, I've used arnica for tendonitis and stuff like that, and it really helps, but yeah, no, we're talking.
well, I guess it couldn't hurt to put
shit.
it on there just for fun.
Yep. Well,
If
I've
you have
used all
some,
kinds of stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
I've
I'm
been
sure you've
using all
done it.
kinds
I'm
of
just
different
saying,
things,
like,
like Pain Wizard,
couldn't hurt.
and I used
I think
Tiger
there's some.
Balm,
Have you tried
and
any
I've
of that,
used
like
CBD
cannabis?
oil.
Like, have you tried that one where it's like a lotion, or it's like a cream, but it's CBD and THC?
I can't have THC, but I have used.
Well, no, you don't. You don't eat it. You would put it on your, like, just rub it on your back.
Yeah, I have this salve called I don't remember. It's CBD salve. It's really great, and I started using that too. But I'm getting a massage. I'm actually just trying to prepare for the massage by taking the first edge off, so that
Right.
she can go in really deep. Which,
Right.
because I haven't, I should have been massaging myself this whole time probably, but I sort of
Right.
forgot about it. But yeah, I don't
I
know.
used to have a
It's
massage chair when I lived
huh?
in my I used to have a massage chair when I lived in my Denver house. I had to sell it when we moved to the mountains,
Bummer.
and I miss that thing.
Oh, I mean, what do you mean? Like a massage chair?
Yeah, it was like this, like my
Oh,
friend
that
who used to
vibrated?
work. No, like straight up like massaged. Like you could, it was like pretty extensive. Like I had things that would wrap around your legs and your arms and stuff.
Really? Wow.
And then like the back one, it had like, if you took it apart, it almost looked like skateboard wheels or something that were
Oh,
on these
wow. It's too bad you had to sell that. That's,
gears and stuff. Yeah, it
dude,
was really nice one.
where'd you
We
get it?
sold it for like $700 or $800 too. But it was like
Wow.
a friend of mine used to work for a massage chair company, and it was one that he piecemealed together and just gave us out of,
Wow.
because he was the technician that worked on the massage chairs and like the customer support, like guy. Like if someone was like, if their chair broke, they'd call him and he'd be like, this is, oh, here, these are the parts you need to fix it. Or, you know, I'm going to send you these parts, and then I made this video that you can watch that'll show you how to replace the parts, kind of thing. That was his job. And
Wow.
unfortunately, that friend has passed away since. That's a whole nother topic that I don't want to get into tonight. But yeah, that thing was nice. And that it was like cool to, like, it was like you could like Bluetooth your phone to it, and it had like little speakers next to your ears that you could like listen to music and stuff.
Wow,
Like,
man.
it was like, yeah, it was like top of the line, like high end thing. We were lucky to have it, but we had to sell it because we didn't have room for it in our new house. But now I'm like, maybe we should have just figured out a way to make room for it.
Yep.
The other problem was is that
Unfortunately.
thing weighed a lot. It weighed like a ton. So that was
Was it
part of the other.
electric?
Yeah, oh yeah. Plugged into the wall. It was like you could set it, had multiple settings. Like I had a setting on it where just like there's this one spot that I get kind of in my back, kind of below my shoulder blade a little bit, that always knots up. And like you could set that thing and it would just sit there and like massage that part of my back for like 30 minutes. Felt so good.
Oh my God. Sounds like it really was great.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like I fell asleep in that thing more than once, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I used to go to a chiropractor who had like a bed like that. Like you'd lay on it and it had like these round things that would go up and down and loosen you up. And I just thought to myself, this would be great to have one of these things. But they were like, it was like $5,000 for that table.
Yeah, this wasn't quite that much, but it was still pretty expensive chair.
So yeah, I mean, it's not
I
like
think they're around 1,500 or something, the one we had.
mhm.
if you're
still.
going to buy one new.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, no, I used to get massages.
The only reason we got it because my friend didn't have room for it in his house. Because he lived in like an even smaller house than I live in now. But yeah.
Yeah, I live in a pretty small house too, so that's why I'm listening to you about this bicycle thing. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Look into it.
No, I need to look back into that too, because that would be something rad. I mean,
That is
my
weird because we
doctor
have a bike, an
just
exercise
told
bike.
me like the other day that I need to exercise more anyways.
Who
when I
did?
went.
Oh, your doctor?
My doctor, yeah. Which I kind of knew already anyways, but like it's just one of those things that you never remember to do.
Oh, I know. I'm not a big exerciser. I guess.
I mean,
I
I feel like at my old job, I was on my feet all the time. So I was getting more exercise. Now I just like sit around on the computer all the time and painting and stuff like that. So I'm not getting like the exercise as much, but I've been trying to go on more like hikes and walks and stuff on the weekends and stuff.
Oh,
so.
good. Yeah, you pretty much could just run up your hill.
Oh yeah, I totally could. Or
That would
just
be hardcore.
walking. It's such a steep hill that I live on that I could just walk up it and I would be breathing hard by the time I got to the top. So yeah.
Oh, I bet you this thing is dry. I can add a few.
I have to get a smaller brush for that.
Yep, it's dry. This is so funny, this thing. I swear, it's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe I painted the wires. That's just so weird that I did that. But I still have to.
Well, now they're the right color.
Well, you can see them now. That's for sure. You couldn't really see them before when they were copper. But I do need to kind of hold them in place better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's this thing in here that was made out of styrofoam, and I just stuck the wires into that.
Nice.
So they're flopping around. And they could destroy themselves. If someone, I gotta kind of make them stick in one spot.
Make them a little bit more stabilized.
Yep. But that's going to require a batch of paper clay, which I don't have right now. I've got to do that.
As always, next time.
Next time, or sometime.
Tomorrow. I know you're waiting for your hand to heal too. So.
Oh, it'll be fine. It's going to be fine. It's like already good right now, but I mean, it's tender. It's a little tender. I just cut myself cutting a Brussels sprout. The knife slipped and cut my finger. So.
Brussels sprouts, those are delicious. How do you like to prepare your Brussels?
Oh, I didn't really do a good job. I just steamed them and put butter on them. I don't know. I probably could have done something so much more creative.
Have you ever done that one where you like broil them? You just put like olive oil and like garlic on them, and then you just broil them and they kind of get crispy.
No, I haven't tried that.
So it's really good like that. Or if you have an air fryer, you can just like put a little bit of oil in a bowl and then shake some garlic powder in there and mix them around and then put them in the air fryer for like 10 minutes and shake them every few minutes. And it kind of gets like crispy on the outside, and it's like, I don't know, it tastes really delicious.
That's awesome. No, I just steamed them and put butter on them.
Which isn't bad. I've done that before too. Yeah, I had there was like some really delicious Brussels sprouts at the store a couple weeks ago. We had a big batch that we air fried up. Delicious. Couldn't convince my kids of their deliciousness.
No,
So
the kids, I used to throw them in the fireplace when I was a kid.
you know, it's
Wadded up in
strange.
my napkin.
When I was a kid, I used to love, I loved Brussels sprouts.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
my mom hardly ever cooked them because I just don't think you could get them as readily as you can these days. Back then, or something, or maybe they're just expensive. I don't know. But I just remember we didn't have them very often, but when we did, I liked them. Which was weird because like all of my friends would be like, "You like Brussels sprouts?" I was like, "Yeah,
Exactly.
So good."
No, I didn't like them back then.
I was like, "These things are good, man. I don't know why you don't like them." I just liked them because they're like a leafy green that actually had like some flavor to it, more than some of the other leafy greens that just basically taste like water and dirt.
What? What tastes like water and dirt?
Like iceberg lettuce, maybe.
Ew, ew, ew. Iceberg lettuce. Yeah, I can see where. That's not.
It's not this bad for you. It just doesn't have like that, like
Doesn't
kale
have
has
any
that
nutrition
nice,
in it.
yummy flavor to it, Or like cabbage has like a nice flavor to it.
Well, I mean, Brussels sprouts are like little cabbages, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's my brain. There's my cotton candy thing.
It's hilarious.
That's funny. Now that I put that background in there, that color on the right looks even bluer than it did before. That's okay. We're not going to worry about it.
Yeah, don't overthink it. You gotta just trust. That's what I do. I just trust these sessions that things are correct.
Yeah.
I mean, after
Well,
that story.
In some ways, when you're doing art, you have more room for something being subjective, or I can say as an artist, I can be like, I want pink to represent the masculine and blue to represent the feminine.
Well, yeah, why not? It's
Like I don't have to be like, oh, like I'm gonna go with the status quo and maintain that pink represents the feminine, or like the little girl colors. Get the baby blue.
Well, I mean, I think that they reversed it in a way, because I think Apple showed us that they used that blue on purpose to calm you down. I think it's more of a right brain thing.
Yeah, more like blue as a color and how it affects you when you look at it seems more like feminine, and blue is just nice and soothing. It's going to caress you and make you feel good, and that can be attributed to like the feminine, whereas red is like action, or like pink comes from red, which is like action. Pink,
Right. So it feels like that was a reversal on their part,
masculine,
since they're from
get her
transsexual
done.
Transylvania.
The masculine, let's get her done, whereas the feminine's like, why don't we take the scenic route, enjoy the flowery meadows on our way, instead of just taking the interstate. Let's enjoy this drive.
Yeah, you know, it seems like it's a reversal.
For sure. No, I would tend to agree.
So
with
many
that.
things are a reversal. Come to find out.
Yeah, sometimes all you have to do is open the dictionary and you find these reversals all the time too. You're like, wait a minute. I was assuming this word meant that this opposite of what it actually really means. Can't think of an example right now, but yeah. So I'm trying to think how I should label these. Should I just label it inside the actual object? Just write the label there? Should I do little like lines with like little writing with the line pointing in the corresponding spots? I'm leaning more towards the just writing it in the areas where it's supposed to be.
I agree.
Sounds good. A decision's been made. This is a collective art salon. After all, we should be able to discuss our troubleshooting of our artwork together. I think that's part of the purpose, personally, having an art salon. Oh wow, it's 7:53. We're coming towards the end of our session tonight. We went way over last week. Remember?
We did?
Yeah, Jeff started talking about all that cool stuff with
Oh yeah, that was cool stuff. I
the
actually did go and research
modern
that.
art co-opting, and yeah, we went like probably like half an hour, 20 minutes over last week, but that's fine. That was some
Yeah, that
really
was pretty good stuff.
stuff that he was going over.
That was
I
crazy
thought,
shit.
yeah, I was like, dang, this is awesome. Like I never heard of this before.
But it makes sense though, because
total
modern
sense.
art is such fucking crap.
Well, it's almost like they took art and they're like, you don't have to do stuff that's going to manifest positivity into reality. You can just do, you know, abstract expressionism kind of stuff, which
Which is fine. I mean, some of that
Which
stuff
is
is
fine.
fantastic. I mean, I
it's
don't dislike
beautiful
it.
and like it can really, you can really look at it and, you know, interpret it in many different ways. But yeah, I think it's just interesting. That whole, it's almost like the dumbing down of like, you know, because you look at even further back in history at art, and like most of the art was just like religious commissions to help influence the narrative of whatever the most accepted religion was, you know, in the region. And, you know, when you think of like Michelangelo and those guys, it's like all those pieces those guys were doing were all like religious commissions, you know, for the church. And I mean, like, but like Da Vinci, he kind of broke away from that because he'd get bored, you know, he'd be like, like, I remember when I was in Italy seeing like a lot of his unfinished paintings where there'd just be like an underpainting and some parts would be finished. And it's like, oh yeah, this is one of the ones that Da Vinci lost interest in and didn't finish and went on to like do something else, you know? Which I don't know. Like I feel like part of that modern art movement, it's just like, let's abstract everything and then we don't have to like really manifest in the same way with using art as like propaganda or power, you know, like when you look at some of the art history stuff, it's like there's so many Christian religious-based works out there. It's insane. And and some of those paintings are really like creepy, too.
What?
There's a
What's
lot of
creepy?
like symbolism in them and stuff.
Like what?
It's like, I don't know. I can't think of one right off the top of my head, but there's some where it's just like weird, like demons and stuff in the bottom.
Are you talking
and
about
like,
Bosch?
yeah, some of that stuff.
Oh God, yeah, Bosch for sure. But
And then like
that wasn't.
there's
I
some
don't
other
think that
stuff
was really
too.
Christian. That was he was
Well,
like
yeah.
way
That
ahead of
one's
his
not,
time.
but I mean,
He was way ahead of his time in the subconscious realm,
yeah.
I think.
So I don't know. I'd have to look at some of this. I just remember walking through like the Metropolitan Museum of Art and being like, what the hell? Like, how is some of this stuff like like some of these big masterpiece like paintings? I'm like, what? Like this is kind of like just like it has like an eerie vibe to it to me, and I'm uncomfortable being around it. And sometimes I couldn't really put my finger on it. Maybe it was just like because it was like a war scene or something like that, or I don't know. But yeah, so we're getting ready to be finished for tonight. Let's go ahead and take a peek and see what we're going to talk about. So yeah, we talked about, brain structure and the behavior, or we talk about the consciousness and the brain structure, a little bit about behavior, but I think the next week we're getting into the since we talked about the left and right brain this week, I kind of combined two of my weeks in the notes I have here. And we're going to move on to the mental schisms, which is still kind of an aspect of the right and the left hemispheres of the brain. And when they become imbalanced, then you get these mental schisms, which are also worldview schisms. So we're going to talk about not only the mental schisms, but also the worldview schisms next week. And I have a very special painting I'm going to start working on for that, that I did a drawing for a couple of years ago. That's I think is going to be a pretty exciting piece for next week.
Sounds good.
Did you have anything else to put in there for this week, Joanna, before I kill the stream?
I'm fine. I'm
Got
good.
everything
I look
down
forward
here?
to having our guests from last week come back and share their experience, because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm
but
gonna start reaching out to some people as well and see if I can get some other people in here as well.
But besides that, no, I
participants.
think everything sounds good. I mean, I'm satisfied with this piece that I did. Here it is.
Ooh, oh wow.
That's
Oh
really
my gosh, that is
wowie.
that has progressed so far.
Can you
in
believe that?
just tonight? Yeah,
In
that's
one
amazing.
night. I mean, it's crazy.
That's,
I just can't even
that's
believe
really
it.
cool. I really like it.
I can't believe it. I mean, these all still
I
need
think
to
the
be
colors you chose are really working out great too.
crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean, I'm amazed by it. I mean, I actually finished another piece, which is fantastic. And I'm going to work on figuring out how I'm going to lay out that
You have some
statement
finishing
about the IRS.
have some finishing touches to do to this one, but I'll
So
either do those this week or early in our presentation next week. So we look forward to seeing you all next week and doing some more art and discussing some more natural law principles in relation to the worldview / mental schisms.
Sounds good.
If you do want to join us, visit drawingnaturein.com. There you can schedule a consultation with you, and we can go over, how you can set up a little easel so people can see what you're working on and stuff like that. And we will get you the Zoom link so that you can participate.
Sounds good.
All right. I will be in touch with you soon, Joanna.
Sounds good. I'm going to check out.
Yeah, I'm checking out.